discuss issues that cut across our common destinies. My name is Yagazie Obiwani Ozalo. Today on the Urban Parliament, we intend to look at the Save Democracy protest that happened in Abuja yesterday, led by the ADC, and in collaboration with some civic society organizations who are asking questions around INEC's, deregistration. Not entirely deregistration, but INEC's notification of the National Executive Committee of the ADC, led by Senator David Mark. Protests rocked Abuja yesterday. We know that the right to protest in a democracy is a core civil liberty that allows citizens to express their opinions and to challenge authority, and likewise to push for social or political change. So, prominent members of the African Democratic Congress (ADC) yesterday led what they termed the Save Nigeria Democracy protest to the headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC). Several chieftains of the party, including, the former presidential candidate of the Labour Party and former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, former governor of Rivers State, Rotimi Amechi, former Kano State Governor Rabiu Kwankwaso, former Senator David Mark, and former Osun State Governor Rauf Aribishala, and a host of others, together with their supporters and civil society groups, were at the INEC headquarters protesting yesterday, demanding for many things. According to them, they believe that the electoral umpire is working for the ruling All Progressives Congress to undermine Nigeria's democracy, and they have asked that the INEC chairman, Amupito, resigns or is removed from that position because they do not have any trust in him anymore. So yeah, they were spotted carrying placards bearing different inscriptions. Some said, "Hands off our courts." Some said, "Tinubu, allow democracy to breathe." And a host of other things. Some of them were saying, "We say no to a one-party system." Well-meaning Nigerians, lovers of democracy, are asking for INEC chairman to resign. A host of things that were said. We'll just let you hear from the horse's mouth. Senator David Mark and a host of others said things at that particular protest. Just take a listen.
Interpretation has deprived us of proper status, and that's what we petitioned INEC, that they should revise themselves and give the proper interpretation of the status quo ante bellum, and not removing the chairman. It couldn't possibly be treating an individual as a faction. ADC faction as one ADC, and that interpretation doesn't rhyme with the reality on ground.
What happened was a collaboration of INEC against the interests of the Nigerian people. So the Nigerian people are speaking in one voice, in unison, saying no, that what they want to do is to have the one-party state, and we say no.
Power is in your hand, not in anybody's hand. If you allow them, you will continue. Don't forget when we were in APC, we chased PDP out. It's our time to
Okay, you can hear the voices there. The ADC particularly asked for INEC chairman to step down immediately or be removed by the appropriate constitutional authorities. Also, they want the commission to withdraw what it described as an offensive correspondence that was sent to the ADC and issue a formal apology and commit to staying out of internal party matters. While that was going on, there was a counter protest led by a certain coalition of youths. And this was what they had to say. This one was happening at the National Assembly in support of INEC. Just listen to what they had to say.
To make a very bold statement that the solidarity for INEC and the leadership of INEC continues, that we are sensitive, we are conscious, and we are on ground, that we will continue to support INEC, will continue to solidarize with INEC, and will continue to protect that institution.
All right, so the ADC formally dropped a petition at the INEC headquarters regarding their demands around what's happening within their party and what they believe INEC should do concerning all of that. Meanwhile, we know that Atiku Abubakar has hired a Washington-based lobbying firm, Von Batten Montag York LC, and was reported to have gone into a contract to pay them about $1.2 million to lobby, the image of himself and the ADC concerning all what is playing out going into 2027. It's been reported that the firm has disclosed plans to urge the United States authorities, including President Donald Trump and members of Congress, to impose sanctions on Nigerian officials over the Independent National Electoral Commission's derecognition of the leadership of the African Democratic Congress. The firm has expressed concerns about INEC's handling of Nigeria's electoral process, citing past and emerging challenges and acknowledging that although the Commission has the technical capacity to conduct credible elections, it has failed to withstand political interference. So that battle it's all of it. So I'm bringing this to the front burner today to have a conversation on it and see what to make of all of this imbroglio playing out in Abuja regarding the Independent National Electoral Commission and their actions towards the ADC. I have with me in the studio this morning a public affairs analyst of repute, Sahabichan Iago. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining me on the program this morning.
Good morning, Yagazie.
Good morning. Thank you. Yeah, we would I say had expected that this would happen. The protest in Abuja, led by the ADC and some civil society organizations, it turned out yesterday to be quite interesting what played out at the INEC headquarters. How did you receive the news of that? Did you anticipate that that would happen? Or did you think that they would take this protest to INEC or that they would have gone to, the courts to try to get an interpretation of what that particular problematic status quo antebellum thing is this the right approach in your own view?
Well, I think what I would say is that whatever action that those members of the ADC you mentioned, whatever actions or steps they took yesterday, more advice, they may have thought about it, and then uh, the legal minds among them, or even as their attorneys, would have reviewed it, looked at the merits and the demerits of taking such action. And in the end, they came to the conclusion that it was better they did because in the end, somebody might say, did you protest it? And it will be on record that you protested it. Then did you raise any objection against it? And it will be there. I would want also to believe that the ADC as a party may have or
could be thinking of approaching the courts to vacate the decision of INEC not recognizing the David Mark um, executive. So I didn't anticipate that they would embark on such a protest, that they would make such move. I never anticipated that. But whatever happens, I think the way they organized themselves in an orderly manner yesterday, without being irate about it, and they just went there to register their objection, to register their protest against the decision of INEC not to recognize the David Mark executive. When INEC quite you see what happens in Nigeria is always very interesting. It's always very interesting because the same INEC that took this decision was the same INEC that went to court last year, September last year, to depose to an affidavit saying one that INEC had no basis interfering in inter or intra-party affairs, intra-party matters.
Yeah.
He's been there, and that what is it called? That affidavit that they deposed to is still fresh. Is still there at the courts and available to anybody to see. So, and these people they have made reference to it. So, INEC, what happened? What changed? You that went to court and swore to an affidavit deposed to against the Bala nephew Bala action. So why did you now make a change to go against what you swore to an affidavit and deposed to at the court? So it's a problem. In Nigeria, institutions, this again reminds one of what Obama said. Obama said when he was president of the United States and he visited Ghana, he mentioned the lack of institutions, strong institutions, as part of the problems of Africa. And that is what we are witnessing today. If INEC leadership, if INEC is a strong institution, they wouldn't allow themselves to be messed up by anybody. Even if it is the person, yes, people, the way people look at public appointments here, is they try to personalize it. And I keep saying it. They personalize public leadership in Nigeria. Go to the states, you see how the governors, an individual personalizes a governorship position as if it is his private estate, as if it is his personal enterprise. And that is why we are having all this rubbish. The president will personalize presidency. Whoever is holding the position of president of Nigeria at any given time will personalize that position as if it belongs to him personally. And that is why they make mistakes, because the thing will get into their head and they begin to err. They will begin to act God. You see them acting God, and which is wrong. You are here, you are there on terms and conditions provided by the Constitution. But you went in there and then you started behaving like Lord of Manor, as if it is your own personal property, your own personal enterprise. And it is wrong. That is where we go wrong. Because you will go there and sycophants and proxies will, and the cronies rather, will surround him or her. And before you know it, he begin to have all these delusional tendencies that is after God, it is him and no other person. And he begins to act in that manner. That is why they take so much inhuman decisions that even run against the tenets of the Constitution, which put them there. So if not that, if INEC is a strong institution that owes its allegiance to Nigeria, to the people of Nigeria and not to any particular individual, no matter his position, these things wouldn't be happening. We wouldn't have found ourselves in this present circumstance in the first instance.
All right. So
The winner, the actual winner of the election in 2023 would have been declared. But because INEC is not a strong institution, no matter the title of whoever is holding the position of the chairman, whether he's a chief judge or a professor or Mr. or whoever, whatever, they, after all, they say the hood does not make the monk. Yes, the late Bishop Energy, the saintly Bishop Energy, he said the cassock does not make a priest. So that you are a professor or that you are a senior advocate, it doesn't make you, if you have a personal character inherent in you, it would make no difference because you will still be you. You will still be who you are. If you're a corrupt mind, if you're a corrupt person, you will still, no matter how cleansing they try to do on you, you will still behave in that manner. It is like they say onyori, a shoplifter. No matter ihe ọsọkwa gị clean ya, gwọọ ya, mechaa ya, train ya, reform ya, ọ ga-akwa ị na-afụkwa ya, onwe ike ọ gatakwa ebe shops ma ihe anụ onekwa anya ya like this, onekwa anya, onwe ike ọ mekwe iji iwe ihe beto ị ga-afụ ya ọtọnụkwa anya. And that is the thing. It's a problem. It's a problem. We don't have INEC. INEC has showed that it is yet to be a strong institution, because if it is a strong institution, the INEC chairman, being a lawyer too, a senior lawyer for that matter, ought to have remembered this decision, this incident that took place September last year, where the same INEC went to court to say INEC has no business, no involvement in intra-party affairs, and went further to recognize the David Mark-led executive in the same affidavit. Yeah. So what changed?
I think
why
David Mark mentioned that yesterday at the protest.
So
when he was speaking? But then, the question I asked is, to what end is this protest? And you've said it's important for them to at least register their disagreement with INEC's position regarding the leadership of the ADC, even if it will not yield any result, isn't it? Because maybe this would not yield any result. INEC is not going to yield to ADC's demands. One of their major demands being that the chairman himself resigns or is removed from that position, because they believe, in their own words, that the chairman's actions have damaged the institution's reputation and eroded public trust. But do you think there's a possibility that that could be a consideration, because the ADC is making this demand? They put out their their petition at that protest yesterday. Do you think that it could ever lead to considerations around the leadership of INEC?
Even if in the end that protest and the grounds of embarking on the protest, even if in the end it doesn't make any impact, it doesn't bring about the removal or the resignation, as the case may be, of the INEC chairman, the fact remains that they protested. It will be on record when people in future would be making reference to this incident, to this particular matter that happened. The story wouldn't be one-sided, because if they failed to protest, it will look as if somebody in future might say, okay, what did they do? What action did they take when this decision was taken when INEC took this decision? And the other story, maybe the second line of the story, of the information, will say, oh, look, they protested. Look at the extent of protest that they made. They even went to the extent of demanding the resignation of the INEC chairman as having failed in his responsibilities to carry out those responsibilities judiciously and in the right manner. So the records will be there. And that is why when you go to some places, they will say, where are the records? And they will bring the records and go through the records and find out that, like students of law, they will talk about jurisprudence and things like that. So these things will form part of that jurisprudence that will make the law interesting. So it is only in Nigeria that you see where somebody holding a, 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 a position of public trust will do something, and then the person is allowed to continue even when some people. I could remember a, a friend of mine told me once. He said that in Canada, for instance, in Canada, that it it will just take only the protest of a single individual to make a change. That if something is happening and you see just one individual, he comes out in the right place, maybe in the streets or on the road, or at any public place, and carries out a placard in the name of protest that so and so should happen. You will see the government of the day, you will see even the particular individual will leave that office. The particular individual, something in short, something positive. There must be a positive response to that protest by that single individual. But it cannot happen here in Nigeria. Even if you like, let the whole Nigerians troop out in mass, in their large numbers, in the streets. They won't listen to you. Rather the man that you are protesting, rather the man you are protesting against, his cronies and his surrogates, his farm members, they will go and organize a counter protest in the name of protest and give the people who are hungry, organize them in the streets. When you go to Obamana and get some people, maybe give them even 5,000 naira, or you have made their day. You gather them, hand over those materials in the name of placards that you have written. Give it to them. Then call and let me say it this way: call the media. Invite them. Of course, in the end, pecuniary we follow now. Envelope will follow. Ndị time will come, and when they come, they take a photograph of the so-called protesters. When they take photograph of the so-called protesters, they will smile home because something has already entered their pocket. They will now go and write the story that there was a counter protest. Meanwhile, those people who protested, you look around, you see where they are quarreling over the sharing of how the modality of sharing the money that they have been
So
given.
you're saying, in essence, it's interesting that we had the Concerned Nigerian Youth Forum protest at the National Assembly in support of INEC yesterday.
Of course, it's interest. That's what I'm saying. That's where I'm going to now. That's where I'm going. They will organize and they will come under any name. You will give it any name. You will give it any name to give it to look to see as if it has credibility.
In their own rights, they are civil society organization too, and they can take whatever stance that they believe in.
Of course.
Right? Of course. I just want to get back to ADC's demands, and I'll read out some of them. According to their petition, says they want immediate resignation of the INEC chairman or his removal by appropriate constitutional authority, withdrawal of INEC's correspondence to the ADC described as offensive, formal apology from INEC to the ADC, and commitment by INEC to refrain from interference in internal affairs of political parties. And if this does not happen, these are their enforcement measures. They will go ahead with judicial proceedings, coordinated civic action, and a host of other things. It's looking like a standoff between INEC and the ADC as it stands. And Atiku Abubakar has taken the fight to top, a notch higher by going to the US and employing the service of a lobbying firm. What do you think that lobbying firm could achieve in terms of putting pressure on INEC? Because as it stands, they've been, lobbying lawmakers in the US to put in word for them against INEC, and they're trying to see if they can get Donald Trump's ears to tell him what they think about the institution itself. What do you think that this would mean for INEC itself, for Nigeria's upcoming elections, if Donald Trump takes interest in what this lobbying firm is doing?
That is where we have found ourselves today as a country. We call ourselves we call ourselves a country, an independent country, a sovereign country. But are we really? A situation where somebody now, where a big brother wields a big stick and then we begin to act. Is it the right thing? You remember what happened recently, last year. If not for the intervention of the United States, would any action? It was only then that the federal government started reacting and started behaving as if it was aware of what was going on in the northern part of Nigeria in the name of extermination of Christian faithful in the north. If the United States did not intervene, perhaps by now the thing would have reached to this region. You remember Iran? Iran used to be a Christian nation. It was things like this, and people kept quiet, treating the whole matter with levity, until in the end, the Christians, the dominant Christians in Iran, were exterminated, were removed, and then the Islamic fundamentalists took over the reins of leadership of the country, and we are all witnessing the effect of that leadership, that they are sponsoring crisis or a terror in so many parts of the world, including Nigeria, where ISIS that is fingered as being sponsored by Iran is causing trouble in Nigeria in the name of insurgents and some other activities of Iran through by this Islamic religion fundamentalism. And this is wrong. So when you keep quiet, it will stick. As Nnamdi Azikiwe will say, if you keep quiet, it will stick. The Constantinople people, they kept quiet and they stuck. And today, Constantinople changed the name overnight to Turkey and became an Islamic country. That's the way they start. So they have looked at Nigeria. They have looked at Nigeria and say, if we're able to get Nigeria with its population, every other part of Africa will cave in.
That's
So
conjecture.
so that's it. That's the thing. So it took the intervention of America to draw, let me say now, to draw the attention of Bola Ahmed Tinubu regime to what was going on. So it has come to that stage where if you have the resources, if you have the capabilities, when things are happening to you, you are suffering undue oppression, undue treatment, you raise your voice to the big brother outside seeking his intervention. And once he steps in, everybody becomes quiet.
What I'm asking, does it sit well with you that we are now engaging a lot of lobbying firm around Nigeria's public interest issues, right?
How can he
Because
be?
the federal government has employed a lobbying firm to, better their image around the United States, and of course for the United States president.
Yes, because they know. It is just like it is akin to what I said a while ago.
Yeah.
People were making genuine protests only for the same person who was being protested against, because he has the resources at his beck and call in his control. You go and gather some people, gather a motley crowd of people who are looking for something to line their pockets, gathers them and then puts them the garb of solidarity supporters or solidarity movement people, so that to cause confusion and to create the impression that, look, the protest of these people, you should not mind them, that they are not serious, they are just protesting in vain, protesting for they have no basis, their protest has no basis. So that's the impression they want to create, just for you dismiss the protest, the genuine protest, with a wave of hand. So if people who call themselves the genuine Nigerians, the genuine youth leaders or youth whatever, if they could do that, then because you are an outsider, if you go outside this country, you know how it is, the perception of others. So when this thing happen, if government takes its own lobbying outside Nigeria, the person that is being lobbied for intervention, we now become confused. Look, oh, these people are complaining that this thing is happening, whereas some of them, some of their members, some of their people are saying no, 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 nothing is happening in Nigeria. If not for the resilience of those American legislators, they insisted. The same government, you remember, they made an attempt now. The same government went to the same United States to create the impression that nothing was happening in Nigeria. But he took the insistence of the United States media and some of their Congress members, and they presented the facts with evidence, with pictures, with motion pictures that nobody could deny. Yet the government had sent people to create another impression that nothing was happening. So, and it was then that these people became convinced that those information that they obtained, the information was quite genuine, quite correct. So the same thing is happening now. As we can see, tomorrow you will hear that they have sponsored another lobbying group to counter what Atiku Abubakar has done. That is them. Do you think that, look at the people involved in ADC. These people are what a friend of mine described as veteran politicians, experienced politicians. All of them, they have been in this game. They know the trenches, they know the route, they know the tricks. They were even on the other side in the past. Yes, like Rotimi Amechi, David Mark, they were on the other side when PDP was dominating the political space of Nigeria. They were members of PDP. And you remember PDP made a boast then that they were going to rule Nigeria for 50 or for 60 years. There was that boast. And Rotimi Amechi was a member of the PDP then. And he held prominent position. David Mark held prominent position, first as an ordinary senator and later as the Senate president, number 3 citizen of the country, for 3 sessions of the National Assembly. David Mark was there as the Senate president. So are you saying that he doesn't know the road or he doesn't know the tricks? They know. Or is it Atiku, who was first elected as a governor, and then before the date of handover, he became a vice president, a position he held for 8 years, and he had been in the game of politics. Is it Peter Obi? Name them. Is it Kwankwaso?
So you're saying they know
And
in
so
essence how
they know.
how
So that
strong
is why I
propaganda
said
walls can
it
be.
is a systemic thing. The protest they did, they may have weighed it, they may have considered it. It's a systemic thing. First, they made a protest. Maybe the next stage that they have said, the judicial process, they may go to court against the decision of INEC and then move on with other measures.
What I'm concerned about is if Nigeria's public image in the international space is going to now be a thing that is dependent on a war of propaganda. Where does that even leave the Nigerian people? Where does that leave Nigeria really in terms of governance and all whatnot? Because now the government is lobbying, the ADC is lobbying. There are different stories being told about Nigeria in the media, in the international space. There are people who are supposed to be looking at Nigeria and wondering how they would come in to invest and bring in capital into the nation. And now we have to depend on whatever these lobbying firms are saying for, and they have to say things for profit, isn't it? To whoever pays the piper dictates the tune. Whatever those who have paid them have told them to say would be what they will be saying to the international community. I'm wondering how this will leave Nigeria in global standings.
It leaves Nigeria as an object of ridicule. as an object of mockery, as an object of unseriousness. That is where it will lead Nigeria to. That is where it will keep Nigeria. And it's quite unfortunate that our people are doing these things without being mindful of the consequences to the general entity called Nigeria. It's quite unfortunate.
That's where
that
politics is now.
Yes, it's quite unfortunate that people out of selfish interest, out of personal interest, they don't mind about that state called Nigeria. Their interest is their political interest. Otherwise, if not for personal selfish interest, what would have made an INEC chairman, a professor of law, a senior advocate of Nigeria, to have taken this decision when the same INEC that he is heading had gone to court saying INEC's meddlesomeness in intra-party affair is uncalled for, is unnecessary, is against the law, the same INEC, and went further to swear to an affidavit on that. Again, in the same affidavit, recognized David Marks led executive as the executive of ADC. So between now and then, what happened? Why did this man change? He says status quo ante belle. Status quo ante belle. Before you went to court, what was the status quo before Nafiu or whoever went to court? Was it not the recognition of David Mark as the national chairman of ADC that made the guy, the Nafiu Bala or so, to go to court?
That's the bone of contention.
That's the bone of, because David Mark was David Mark was the national chairman.
I can't say
so
now,
and
because,
he now
because
he went to
different lawyers have given it
and
different
they will always do that.
So the court
Status quo.
the
What
court-
led
the
to
courts
his
that
going to
declared
court?
it, yeah.
What led to his going to court? What led to Bala's going to court? Was it not the emergence of David Mark as the national chairman? So he went to court. When he went to court, and now the court said status quo ante. What was status quo ante? David Mark was already the chairman, and that was why this guy went to court to challenge it. So, and the court says status quo ante belle. So, what it should have been, maintain that David Mark's leadership until the determination of the substantive matter. So, if you say if INEC is interpreting it that is not ADC's David Mark, so what will now be the decision of the court in the end? What will now be the decision if the court decides to say, okay, we want to recognize the national chairmanship of David Mark? Would it say we want to recognize the national chairmanship of Ralph Mosu? That's the thing. Would the court say we want to, if they are implying antebellum to mean Ralph Mosu's regime? So would the court now rule against, say, okay, we won't recognize the leadership, which means we won't recognize the leadership of Ralph Mosu? It's not, because when Ralph Mosu had left, another leadership emerged under David Mark. And it was the emergence of this leadership that this man went to court to challenge.
All right. So people have said the ADC that is protesting at Abuja should head to the courts and seek expedited.
That is what they have. They have said
judgment.
it now. They are following these things systematically. And they are in order. First, you make a protest. You kick against what happened. Okay. The next measure is not to take laws into your hands. You approach the courts, believing that the courts will, in the end, do justice, do the right thing. But you are just fulfilling righteousness. You are just, as they said, they are following the matter in the right process sequentially. So perhaps if they go to court and the court takes a decision one way or the other, perhaps in the end the decision doesn't follow them.
It's interesting that some of
They
the
will now
partners.
come up with an option B, because I know as they are approaching the courts or as they are taking these steps, they may be having other other options. But in the end, this, back to your question, the all these things that are happening shows that one, Nigeria has no strong institution,
Yeah.
because it has ridiculed. The politicians have destroyed the institution called the judiciary in Nigeria. They have destroyed the institution called the defense apparatus in Nigeria. The politicians, yes. The politicians, they have destroyed the INEC, the electoral umpire. They have cornered them, and they are now behaving like people under the influence of extraneous things, and
All right, so
and other things like that. So it's a mockery.
news break, right? We'll go for our news break. When we return, we'll open up this conversation for parliamentarians to join us. Please do stay tuned. We'll be right back. The Enugu State Police Command has intensified its crackdown on criminal activities, raiding a suspected hideout in the new artisan area of Enugu, arresting a suspect, and dismantling drug hubs. A renowned Catholic priest, scholar, and global advocate for ethics, justice, and sustainable development, Monsignor Obiora has called for greater unity, self-reliance, and sustainable development across Nigeria and the African continent amid the recurrent persecution of Christians worldwide. The Nigerian Union of Pensioners has urged its members to obtain their permanent voter cards (PVCs) ahead of the 2027 general elections and use them to vote out ineffective leaders. Hundreds of youths under the banner of the Coalition for Good Luck Jonathan yesterday stormed his Abuja residence, calling on him to contest in the 2027 presidential election. The federal government is proposing an additional 5 billion naira for the embattled Safe School initiative in the 2026 budget. In sports, the Nigeria Football Federation has disclosed that Nigeria will defend their Unity Cup title against India, Jamaica, and Zimbabwe when the tournament kicks off this summer. On entertainment, Nigerian music star Wizkid has publicly criticized fellow artist Burna Boy following an alleged assault on his official disc jockey DJ Tunes. You're up to the minutes in 94.5 seconds.
From the capital of the Southeast to the world.
.5 FM. Today we are looking at the Save Nigeria Democracy protest in Abuja yesterday, led by ADC stalwarts. It was interesting scenes at INEC headquarters yesterday as The heavyweights in the ADC led the protest. Senator David Mark, Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, Arebe Shola, and a host of others were cited at the gates of INEC protesting what they believe is a bad hand dealt the ADC by the electoral umpire, asking for the resignation of the INEC chairman, Professor Joshua Mupito, or a removal from the appropriate quarters. What are your thoughts? Abuchani Yago has shared his thoughts about what's playing out. Don't forget that the protest continues even outside of Nigeria, with lobbying firms helping the ADC protest against INEC in the United States by, of course, asking questions about the reputation of the institution. What are your thoughts about what is playing out in Nigeria at this point regarding our politics? You can share your thoughts by calling in or sending in a message on WhatsApp 0916 000 5945 or 0916 000 4945. You can send in a message on WhatsApp 09128 Hello, good morning. Good morning, sir.
That is coming from next man.
Go ahead.
Yes, the country we are inside has already sold. Our politicians have sold the country to themselves. That's why the institution we have in this country is no longer working for any other organization. Only for them, especially the ruling party. See, what is happening to this country is not, there is different. There is no hidden thing. It is the APC that are doing all this in order for them to make sure that they remain in seat. That's what they are doing. You can't just tell me that if you don't recognize the leadership of the Mark, you will not recognize the leadership of the other person. What are you trying to tell us? You want to try to tell us that the action has no leader? Because you are seeing somebody like P2B as Pampaso and Amechi join the party. And these people are stronger members that will contest against you. And you are using indirect way. And you are telling me, okay, now, look at how we are now disgracing Nigeria to the extent now. I think it's now going to United States to go and robbing the people in the United States to come and help us for something that we can be able to do very well. So we will not be depending on another country to lead our country. And we have a president, we have senators that are supposed to speak. We have opposition senators that are supposed to say, no, this thing is so good that INEC, a professor, is now being used by brand envelope that they give to me so that he can be able to scatter. They consider scattering Labour Party, PDP, and today is on the ADC. The ADC that has not found for anywhere because of these people are joined. This is the country we find ourselves. It is very, very bad. And it's very, very bad. It's not responsible. So they have finished this country and that the country has not integrity again. The country has no name. The country has not even anything to write home about because of politics. Uncertain interest. It's very bad.
Okay, Bossy, thank you for joining us. Keep the calls coming. Hello. Hello. 0916 000 5945. Hello, good morning.
Hello, yeah, good morning.
Good morning, Ike.
Yeah, I agree, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ebi.
Good morning. Yeah, it's quite unfortunate what is unfolding in Nigerian political terrain, and it's affecting everybody. And first, I will start by urging these people to do the right thing, especially the ruling party, to allow opposition to break. You see, if we destroy this democracy, it's all of us that will suffer it. If you do this and Ami come back to, God forbid that Ami come back, you will know where we are before. And what is paining me is that people that are doing this are people that are claiming to be champions of democracy. People that time to us that they fight June 12, they fight during June 12, they fight Abacha, they fight this. And look at what they are doing. Shrinking all the opposition, making it not workable. I mean, let nobody tell me that the hand of the ruling party is not there. It's a lie. Because how is it that under this administration, every three major political opposition parties are in crisis. Why is it that during Jonathan, opposition parties are not in crisis? Why is it that during Buhari, opposition parties are not in crisis? It's only during Tinubu's time that all the oppositions are having one problem or the other. Directly influenced and induced by this ruling party. They are shrinking democratic space. Without opposition, there will be nothing like democracy. If you want to do autocracy, let's leave it to you. But you can't rule Nigeria because they're not doing well. Why are you so afraid? You have 31 governors, you have 50 governors, and you're still afraid of little opposition that you say that they are not, they are totally faithful latest star, like they are supposed to say the other time. You understand? Allow them to preach. Let's open up the democratic space. Let us exist. This is witchcraft. This is wizardry. You understand? I condemn this, and I want them to do the right thing. And I commend the people that are still there, striving, because you can't leave this Nigeria, the ruling class, for these people that are there now. They don't know what to do. Look at this security all over the nation, and that's the same place that have, they have been enshrined that you must go to, because that's what they did during Jonathan. They run to America to get the backing of Obama and other people, to support them. You understand? We don't have how many times that Kenny come here before 2015 election. So that's the same place they are still using. But it will not work because this government have failed Nigeria. Nigerians against APC. So it will not work. Whether you go to Abuja, whether Atiku go, or whether Tinubu go, lobbying 100 times, we are waiting for them. Open up the electoral space. Let INEC not interfere. INEC is supposed to be an independent umpire. But what they are doing now is that they are fighting for, they are derailing the democracy. If anything happens to our beautiful democracy that we are fighting, although we are still dancing, we will hold Tinubu responsible and INEC chairman responsible. God will help us, my dear. God bless you.
All right, God bless you too. Hello, good morning. Good morning, sir.
But the way that this ruling class are doing in this country is not good. Look at, they have even tried to disgrace Nigeria. Nigeria cannot handle the situation they have. We have a senator, we have a house of reps. None of them could even help over this issue. And people have gone to America to go and make their money. And tomorrow now, in CAPC, we see go back to America. This is what they did during the time of Jonathan. Punching attack all over. This another thing, be sure that they are doing those things. And military could swing in and take over the country from them. And we know where we will go. We all will become a victim of life. This is what our solution.
All right, thank you. Hello, good morning. 0916 0005945. Hello, good morning.
Morning, Yagazie.
Good morning, Babutu.
Nice my talking about you. You see, I'm the same thing with that number. I prefer meeting regime more than this regime because the way things are going on the country, I can't understand. It's not a democracy. If democracy is a serious government, then in Nigeria now we are crying. And it happens that the other communities like OEU and the ECOWAS, they are hearing our voice. And they don't want to intervene. To say to them, this is not regime. Your regime is getting to us. Before you join this country. And we are not going to thank God. Because God has blessed this very country. It's not a way that every month we're supposed to thank God. Say, God, thank you. For people not saying, the mineral resources or whatever. But now we are talking. Telling God. I am very clear with that number. The way things are happening on this very country. God has back us. Because evil men are full of this nation. How can you tell us that you are a domestic government? You want to drag everybody to the one part. It can't work. I'm not busy. I cannot use my vote and vote for Tinubu. Let them go and take my vote with my supporters there. I'm a country, I know the vote for. I have thousands of people here. As a non-Indian contractor. My vote can never go to Tinubu. But other parents in other FTCs, I'll vote for them. Just like my good friend Aruchi and the Umera, if they come out for primary. I reach my people here in line, my vote for them. But use my vote for Tinubu. It's fallacy. I can never do it. Take it or not. It's not a good president of this country.
Because the politicization of Nigeria. Thank you. Likewise,
Language. Let's quickly go previous. We'll be right back.
Listening to 94.5 Urban Radio, where music talk and sports live.
ụzọ n'afara anyị wulitere ọchịchọ na olileanya iji jikọọ n'agbata oke mpaghara niile n'agbanyeghị asụsụ anyị na-asụ jollof rice ụlọ
morning.
Good morning, Yagazie. Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Thank you very much.
Good morning,
I
sir.
am very anxious to speak on this topic. You see, whenever we bring something to Parliament, all kinds of things come to remove our attention from the focus. The focus today is this demonstration back.
Hello?
Hello, are you hearing me?
Yeah, we can hear you again now. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is that whenever we have a parliamentary discussion, people bring in all types of things that have no relevance to what we are talking. The focus today is the demonstration by APC and the supporters. Am I right?
Yes, it is.
Good, good. Now, you see, this thing has been a very simple thing. The fact is that the chairman of INEC, because he's a SAR, which is what we suffer in Nigeria, I am lawyer, therefore, whatever I say is true. Let us remember, we say lawyers are liars. The INEC of chairman overreached himself in his interpretation. The court says status quo ante, then ante the value. What is status quo ante? Go back to what it was before the problem. It means the same thing as go back to where it was before the war. Value is war, and these are manner war. And what was the situation? Where the court said, at that time, INEC had David Park as the chairman of APC before the man from Gombe went to court. One was in July, one was in September. So when the court said status and go back to where it was, when did the war about this country? After when David Park was still recognized by INEC. So going beyond that point, the chairman was playing a very simple. What you are doing in Nigeria politically, self-help mischief. If you have done that, then what it is that the people will still remain the chairman, and they don't do it. That time I could say, sorry, you cannot hold this circumference because the court says don't do anything that will make our own exercise become an exercise. We're all playing our practice. And people are saying, what is the evidence that ABC for? You can act like a fox in a goat skin. So what I'm saying is a very simple matter. The INEC man was acting on a very, he's a supporter of this government, and from the word go, he has shown that he's not independent, that he's not neutral. That is what is action. And that was what that demonstration was all about. And you notice not just this. Nigerians, if I were in Abuja, I would have joined the demonstration. And this is the only way we can bring our country back. You see, they don't want any opposition. They just want Tinubu alone to be candidate. So that, you know, I also draw attention. The National Assembly went and started talking about certificates, which they know will come back in 2027. They removed it. Oh, what the certificates will no longer be. Why are we doing this now? I hope people understand. It's a very simple matter. The INEC chairman was wrong in his interpretation. David Park should not have even tampered with the leadership of the party because that's not part of his job. I ask you also,
yes.
What does INEC need the register of parties for? All they needed is qualities for recognizing the party.
Okay.
As nothing to do with, are you conducting a census?
All right.
What is that all about?
All right.
So it's a deliberate thing, and it is evidence, related evidence, as to what the ruling party is doing to shut up all opposition and make sure that Tinubu alone advises as the candidate.
All right.
Good
Thank
morning.
you. Good morning to you. Hello. Good morning. Good morning, sir. Hello. Good morning. Your name? Go ahead.
I rather commend the two big wigs in the APC that demonstrated in Abuja in relation to what
Hello, good morning. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning to our foreign studio. Good morning to you, former. So I still want to say what I want to go and from American West. Legacy, it pains me when people are still keeping quiet. You know, rather I beg the police, I beg the uniform men to burn down their gun and allow Nigeria to take over their to take back their country. This leadership is 100% able to the people of Nigeria. How can you do this to us? You claim that you have the whole governor, but it's because of your good work that is making this government to be coming to SEC. Why you don't want Nigeria to decide 2027? No, the big men in the ADC have started it in Abuja. What about the small men in the ADC, the local government in the state? Can't we start this thing and join our brothers, our fathers that is in Abuja? It's possible to let some of us that if Nigeria don't take back the country, this will keep happening to us. How can an nation be doing this to us? We should bring hashtag and INEC now to this country so that they will know that the people of Nigeria is angry. You can not keep on doing this to us. We don't want to follow this road, this road. I still say, bro, what can I do? Is it not this one that this is saying? My boy, now I can break it. What is all these things? I don't should speak up. This is not time for people to be lying down, crying, shouting. All of us should read this thing. Let's not the peaceful protest, both in our local government, both in our state. So the one will know that the leadership of Mr. Tinubu has is hurting us more than what they said. In fact, I said, may God forgive me for insulting Buhari. I never knew that Buhari they said.
All right, stay sensitive. Let's take a look at some of the messages on WhatsApp. This one says, my brother, you know what is happening in ADC camp is caused by the APC party. How can someone who is deputy chairman go to court when a former chairman did not go to court? Did you listen to Raf Musu? Bala goes with convoy and full security and stays in one of the best hotels in Abuja because money has changed hands. All right. This one says, good morning. On the issue, it is said that if the witch cries in the night and the baby dies in the morning, why asking who killed the child? It is very clear that the APC is suffocating the opposition. This is UN Woko. All right, this one says, good morning. This is Anthony, the artist. Frankly speaking, over the years, I started following politics in Nigeria. I have never encountered this kind of present regime. I'm just scared because the three arms of government in Nigeria are now some individuals, or are now in some individuals. Okay, sorry, are now some individuals' private business. This one says, good morning. I am Isaac from Gariki. I thank your guest for always saying the truth. It's very disheartening that the APC administration is walking towards the way of anarchy by pocketing the whole institutions in Nigeria, especially INEC, after Tinubu gave it a 1 trillion naira to do after Tinubu gave it 1 trillion naira for 2027 elections. It's quite unfortunate that in a democratic country like Nigeria, the opposition parties are destroyed and not allowed to thrive by the ruling party. Okay, lastly, this one says, good morning, great joy from Achara Layouts. It's quite unfortunate that at this level of the century that a firm in another country is lobbying to secure and put an eye in the situation of happiness in our country, and it's said to be democratic. Nigeria is really dead and in ashes. There is no longer any hope for the common man. All right, we'll get back to you, sir. Abuja and with just final remarks because we've run out of time, a lot of bills to pay, 18 to our time. But yeah, your thoughts, your final thoughts from what people have said so far. Some people say they no longer believe in democracy in Nigeria. Some other people believe that this protest should continue until something is done about the leadership of INEC. What are your final thoughts so that we wrap this up?
My final thought is that Professor Amopito should try and redeem his image.
Also,
and if at all he has integrity, he should also redeem that integrity by not acting against his own words, against the words of INEC. I maintain INEC went to court and swore to an affidavit that INEC has no business meddling in the internal affairs of any political party. They went further to recognize the uh, David Mark led leadership. So if INEC wants to do anything against that, they should follow the same process of going to court to change that affidavit. If they claim that they made it in error, they should go back to the court and tell the court, look, we made this deposition or this deponent or whatever it is called, that we made this deposition in error. We want to change before, and if the court grants that request, they can now make a change. But since the court has not done that, INEC should maintain it. If at all they have integrity, they should maintain it and then retract what they have done. Because what matters, integrity is all about you find yourself, you made a mistake, and then you say, oh, sorry, I made a mistake. And you go back and correct yourself. Nothing stops them from doing that. But what these things that are happening today is leading to, Nigerians, even those that are applauding, those that are clapping now, when it will come in the end, some of them will start talking, saying a different thing. I see Tinubu, let me say it now clearly. I see the way things are going in Nigeria. I see somebody trying to extend his stay in office beyond 8 years. I see somebody going to perpetuate himself in office after the 8th year. And it is easier with the crop of National Assembly members or the crop of legislature that we have today, unlike the one we had in 2007 or 2006. The 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 membership of the legislature that we have today, I have my doubts. If such matter comes before them, they will expressly endorse it. They will expressly endorse it in the name of a constitution amendment. And that will be it. You begin to have maybe second term or even live president or live governor, as the case may be. So nobody should say, oh, like Neumann said when they came for the Jews, he said he refused to speak up because he wasn't a Jew. They came for the trade unionists. He didn't say anything because he wasn't a trade unionist. They came for this and that. He didn't say anything against that. Until one day, all these people had gone, and then eventually when they came for him, there was nobody to speak up for him. So it may come to that when the chips will be down, and then there will be this move to perpetuate for perpetuity in office, life presidency or whatever. And you see, there will be nobody to speak against it, to kick against it, and it will come to happen. And it will now be a case of like the late K. by the way said in 1981 or thereabouts. He said, if you can't beat them, you join them. So if we continue keeping quiet and allowing this and seeing it as nothing, and it doesn't concern us, tomorrow it may concern you if care is not taken. So Nigerians should guard, begin now. The signs are there. When you kill opposition, when you subdue opposition, when you suppress opposition, when you exterminate opposition, you are now preparing your way seamlessly towards perpetuity in power. And I pray, may God never allow that.
All right, thank you, Salvachi and Yago. I think that's still a very far call for now. Let's see what happens in 2027 elections. But yeah, the protesters yesterday said no coronations. Tinubu allow our democracy to breathe. Let's see if there are any actions that this protest will elicit from the institutions and the government itself. But thank you to everybody who's called in on the program today to join us to lend voices to what's playing out in the country. We'll continue to follow the developments and bring it your way on Urban Radio 94.5 FM. It's a wrap for our conversation today. So I'll be trying to thank you once again. See you tomorrow for one last session of the Urban Parliament. I am Yagazie Obi-Wan Ozalo.
That is for the week, the last session for the week.